Wyatt Earp stands over 3 bodies in the dust of Tombstone. Blood pools in the Arizona dirt. Hollywood wants you to see justice. The truth is uglier. This wasn't heroic law enforcement. This was calculated violence from a man who learned that fear worked better than fairness. Kurt Russell made him noble. Kevin Costner made him righteous. The real Wyatt Earp was something else entirely. He was a brutal enforcer who discovered that a badge didn't make him righteous. It made him dangerous. The legend says Lawman. The evidence says killer. 3 moments shatter the myth completely. Before we continue on with the reality of Wyatt Earp, hit subscribe to never miss another mythbuster from the Wild West. Dodge City forged Wyatt Earp into something vicious. This wasn't some peaceful farming town. This was a cattle boom hellscape where herds brought cash and chaos in equal measure. The job wasn't about justice. It was about keeping the money flowing and the bodies breathing. Here's what they don't tell you about frontier law enforcement. Success wasn't measured by arrests or trials. It was measured by quiet nights and steady commerce. Fewer charges didn't mean fewer crimes. It meant fewer witnesses willing to talk. Earp learned this fast. His famous tactic was pistol whipping suspects unconscious before they could draw their weapons. Crack them across the skull with your gun barrel. Drop them before they could think about fighting back. Why did this work? Speed controlled crowds. Fear dispersed troublemakers faster than warrants ever could. When saloons erupted into violence, Earp didn't negotiate. He imposed order through pain, waved the gun barrel, cracked some skulls. Bodies hit the floor before tempers hit the breaking point. The math was simple. Hesitation got you killed. Brutality got you home alive. Earp chose brutality every single time. But here's where the story gets darker. Those clean arrest records everyone points to, they're lies by omission. Bar owners didn't want court appearances. They wanted their establishments open for business. Cowboys moved through town fast. Friendly officials looked away if the night ended without funerals. This created a perfect system for hidden violence. Crackheads, keep ledgers clean, maintain the illusion of civilized law enforcement. The reality was systematic intimidation dressed up as peacekeeping. Earp understood the economics perfectly. Quiet streets meant steady profits. It didn't matter how many skulls got cracked or how many men limped out of town with concussions. What mattered was that the cattle money kept flowing and the business owners stayed happy. The pattern emerged clearly. Swift violence prevented bigger problems. Why arrest someone and deal with trials when you could beat them senseless and solve the issue immediately? Why risk a fair fight when you could end conflicts before they started? This wasn't justice. This was crowd control through terror. Earp became an expert at reading situations and escalating violence before his opponents could react. He learned to hurt people efficiently and effectively. The technique worked because frontier towns operated on reputation. Word spread fast about lawmen who cracked heads. Troublemakers started avoiding confrontations. The mere sight of Earp's badge became enough to end most disputes. But something happened to Wyatt during this time. He stopped seeing suspects as people. They became problems to solve through pain. The badge gave him permission. The town's approval gave him confidence. The results gave him satisfaction. Other lawmen used words first. Earp used his gun barrel. Other lawmen arrested troublemakers. Earp hospitalized them. Other lawmen followed procedures. He followed his instincts toward violence. The transformation was complete by the time he left Dodge City. He'd learned that fear was more effective than fairness, that swift brutality prevented complex problems, that people respected violence more than justice. These weren't lessons that stayed in Kansas. These habits followed him south to Tombstone, where personal grudges would meet legal authority, where the techniques he'd perfected on drunken cowboys would be tested against armed enemies who knew his reputation. The brutal enforcer was ready for his bloodiest chapter. The killing was about to begin. The OK Corral wasn't justice. It was enforcement mixed with personal hatred, and everyone involved knew it. Here's what really happened. The Earps had a municipal gun ordinance on their side. No carrying deadly weapons in town without permits. Clean and legal on paper. But the men they confronted weren't random troublemakers. They were cowboys with history. Threats had been traded. Alliances had been tested. Reputations were on the line. The Earps didn't stumble into this gunfight. They orchestrated it. They moved to confront armed cowboys who'd been warned to disarm. Commands were given. Compliance lagged. Positions tightened. Everyone knew the names. Everyone remembered the insults. Then the shooting started. Witnesses split over who fired first and why. In street fights, milliseconds write legends. But the positioning tells the real story. The Earps closed the distance, set the angles, and forced a decision under steel tension. This wasn't neutral law enforcement. The Earps had business interests, town alliances, and hard personal dislike for cowboy lawlessness. Town order wasn't community justice. It was an economic shield for mining capital and commerce. Protect the investment, protect your own standing. The ordinance framed the conflict. Personal feuds accelerated it. The confrontation locked it in. When you walk men with grudges into a corner, the corner tends to bite back. 3 cowboys died in the dust. The Earps walked away, mostly unharmed. The town celebrated. Justice had been served, they said. But the killing had just started. After Morgan Earp was murdered and Virgil was maimed, Wyatt shed every pretense of legal authority. No sworn office, no courtroom waiting, no due process. He gathered a posse and went hunting. On paper, there were warrants floating around. In practice, speed and certainty ruled everything. Targets were named as suspects, then confronted and killed in the field. This wasn't routine policing. This was retribution with a thin legal veil. The shift in Wyatt's mindset was complete. In Dodge City, force had served order. In Tombstone Streets, force had served the law. Now force served vengeance. He chose the barrel over the bench, the ambush over the affidavit. You see the pattern in every encounter. Pursuits across counties, quick confrontations, minimal paperwork afterward. He wasn't sorting evidence. He wasn't building cases. He was closing accounts permanently. Alternatives existed. Bring in territorial authorities. Slow the hunt. Risk escape. Accept that some killers might never face justice. Wyatt rejected that calculus entirely. He wanted finality. He got it, one body at a time. The Vendetta Ride cemented everything. This was intentional killing beyond formal authority. The badge had slipped completely. What remained was a man who'd learned that violence solved problems faster than courts ever could. Each killing made the next one easier. Each ambush proved that swift brutality worked better than slow justice. Each dead cowboy sent a message that crossed legal boundaries entirely. This wasn't frontier necessity. This was personal war dressed up as law enforcement. Wyatt had discovered something dangerous about himself during those blood-soaked months. He was good at killing. He was efficient at it. And somewhere along the way, he'd started to enjoy it. Wyatt Earp mastered frontier violence but lost his soul in the process. He kept streets quiet through fear, bent rules until they broke, and crossed lines when they blocked his path. The real legacy isn't the noble lawman of Hollywood dreams. It's a man who chose force over law when it served his purposes. He was a competent enforcer, a habitual intimidator, and when pushed, a vicious killer who discovered that badges make excellent cover for personal vendettas. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Gunslinger Gazette and check out the video below for another gripping tale from the Wild West.